Ko Jonathan Albert Takawinua, start with the karakia. Tui mai I runga, tui mai I raro, tui mai I roto, tui mai I waho, kia tau ki a tātua katoa, ti mori tū, me te mori ora, homi e, hui e, tai e.
Okay. By the way, I am Beth Sarmiento, your new ACE recruitment consultant, and I'm new to the role, but I welcome everyone for today's webinar, which is hosted by ACE RMO and co-hosted by Taranaki Hospital. Now, I just want to discuss some few important points as we go along with the webinars. In today's webinar, we have 3 parts to follow. So first part would be the employer's presentation, and that includes the video presentation. Employers are expected to discuss what is it like to work as an RMO in your region, your recruitment process, your training opportunities, whether you hold or not interviews on site, rostering allocations, and everything. Now, the second part would be the RMO presentations, where the RMOs invited will initially talk about their first-hand experience working in that hospital. So the third one would be the Q&A session, which I would like to remind everyone, all our audiences, that this is a recorded webinar and that during the presentation, you can send your text-based messages or queries or questions through the Q&A function in the Zoom. Now, if you would like to ask questions live during the Q&A live session, you can just use the raise the hand function, and then our employer and our RMO representatives, all our panelists will try to answer all your questions. Now, if you have questions that are particularly special to your situation, I would suggest that you just send the email to the RMO so that we would be able to answer you more comprehensively. So there you go. I'm giving the floor to our panelists to do the introduction. So yes, guys, you can proceed.
We'll start this way, go across this way. Kia ora everyone. Ko mangamoku te manga, ko rangi unu te awa, ko te pā aparore te mahi. No te taitokera o hau, ko Nicholas Waka toku ingoa. Hi everyone, my name's Nick. I am a PGY1 here at Taranaki Base Hospital. I've been here since I was a 5th year, came back as a TI, and now they can't get rid of me. Kia ora.
Kia ora koutou. My name is Christy Falloon. I'm a PGY1 here as well. I studied in Dunedin and have just returned home.
Hi, my name is Jessie May Moore and I'm an RMO coordinator.
Hi, I'm Nicole Hartigan and I am an RMO coordinator.
And hi, I'm Abby Osborne and I'm the RMO team leader.
Taryn is our Education Administration Officer, and she's just gone to get a power cord for my iPad so it doesn't run flat. She'll be back. Welcome everyone. Thanks for considering coming to Taranaki. We are delighted to be a popular destination for house surgeons, and we'll just try and just give you a basic rundown on things, answer what questions you have, but also we'll focus on our interns being able to speak about how they find it, because that's probably the most interesting thing for potential employees. Next slide, please. We all love working here. It's a particular place. It's a little bit out of the way to a lot of the rest of the country. It's not on the main trunk line through New Zealand. That's one of the things that I really like about it, is it's a little bit more remote, and it's also a place where people have to make their own fun. It's not close to a lot of other places you could go. So I think it's a town with really good restaurants and just a good local culture and lots of outdoors things to do. We have, I suppose you could say we're a little bit smaller than, say, Hawke's Bay or Palmerston North or Whangarei. Would be about the same size as Rotorua, or somewhere between Rotorua and Tauranga in terms of our size. So it's a smaller hospital. We took 14 interns this year and 15 the year before, and we just get told by Te Whatu or how many we can employ. And so we take about 14. Last year we took 14. We think it's a great hospital to work in. It's smaller, so you get to know the staff a lot more. Hopefully you spend less time doing paperwork than you might do in a bigger hospital. And our consultants are all fairly approachable. There's not a lot of hierarchy, though I would say that at the top of the hierarchy, so it's probably more important what these guys think. And when we're looking for house officers, we want to recruit long-term to the region. So we look for people that we think that we're good for them rather than they're good for us. So if we get lots of applicants, then they could show us, why they want to come here, the activities they want to do that's consistent with the activities you can do here, family, friends here, long-term career choices that are relevant to somebody here. Those are sort of the things we look for when we're recruiting, because we do want people to come here and have a great year and for the place to be the right fit for them. Next slide, please. We think the cover letter is the most important thing. So we will get, say, 300, 350 applications, and a group of 6 of us will go through and screen all the cover letters, basically, and we'll look for people whose cover letter said, I'm keen to come work in New Plymouth or Taranaki. It actually said something rather than your hospital or your district or your DHB. So it's a letter that's written in particular to us at this hospital. It helps if you get the city right. So Taranaki-based hospital, Palmerston North, is a bad cover letter. We've had those before. But we look at their letter and we go, does that person really want to be here? What would they do when they were here? Do we suit their interests? Would they have a good life outside of work? Would they have a good time? And we hope that if we select people we think will be a great fit here for them, that long-term they'll be more inclined to stay and contribute to our community long-term. In terms of the scoring, we do use robust scoring. We don't, like if someone says I bought a house in Taranaki, like we would ignore that because only rich people can buy houses. So we try to be really fair. We try to proactively take a certain number from Otago, a certain number for Otago. We always want to have Maori house surgeons coming through because we have a major deficit in our SMO workforce when it comes to Maori house surgeons. So the last few years, we've been attracting and selecting more Maori house surgeons. In the past, we were keen, but nobody ranked us very high. So hopefully we're improving in that regard. And the scoring is done by 6 people. And then at the end, all 6 of us sit down and we try to say, is this the fairest, most representative list we could come up with? So like no one person has the power of selection. We've not done interviews in the past. We're pretty comfortable we don't need to do formal interviews. We think most years we get a really good match and the system works reasonably well. Next slide. Oh, I should say, if you come visit us or contact us, you do get more points in selection because we figure that people that come to see us or make contact or organise a Zoom call have shown a bit more effort. And we're very aware that Otago graduates couldn't do any of their mid-student years here, so we don't say the people who were TIs here are the top ranks because that would be automatically excluding everyone from Otago, and that would be unfair. So we sort of look and go, given they went to Otago, did they make any effort to come here before? Did they do a summer studentship? Did they do an elective selective? If they missed out, did they say, I really tried to, but just couldn't get to work? And we try to balance that up against Auckland graduates so that we're not too biased in one direction or the other. And Abby and Taryn collect all the people that keep a spreadsheet on who visited so we can keep it all really clear and transparent. But when you do write your cover letter, make sure you write all those kind of things in the cover letter. Next slide. Okay, so this is over to you guys. So I'm going to turn the screen a little bit and hopefully that's got you guys in the screen.
Okay, you first one.
Kia ora koutou. I first moved to New Plymouth when I was 16 years old. I'm a different cohort to most of y'all. I had a career before I came into medicine. So I've been here for longer than I haven't, so I definitely consider New Plymouth to be home. My family's here. I did go to Dunedin for the 6 years, which was really tough being away from family and friends, so I'm thrilled to be back. We love Taranaki for the beaches and for the fact that it's off the beaten path. It's you come here, it's a destination, it's not somewhere along the way. There's lots of beautiful bush and restaurants and things like that, quite cultural with the Glen Life Centre and all of that jazz. In terms of this hospital, I really enjoy working in a secondary hospital because I feel like you get a lot more contact with your seniors. You get a lot more opportunities to do procedural things. It's a lot easier to get into theatre if that's what you're interested in. And because the people who work here typically stay here, it doesn't take long to build connections and have those corridor discussions and shoulder taps, which makes work more fulfilling to actually speak to a person and a person that you've had a relationship with rather than having to do everything online and getting pushback. The hours and the conditions and the food I think are similar to what you'll get in other places. I do think Jonathan's right, there's a bit less time spent just on computer screens and more face-to-face time with people in MDT. MDT is it's a draw card for me. It's a lot of fun, you have a lot of banter. And yes, there is free parking.
And no traffic.
No, well, very little traffic. Very little traffic.
There are cars.
There are some cars.
Yeah.
There are some public transport. Yeah, it's a big little city.
Any experience? What's your experience being from medical student to health officer? That's in our little.
Yeah. It's going to be a jump. It's a little bit nerve-wracking. It's like leaving the nest to fly. And, you know, you think you've been a really awesome trainee intern, but then when you're the doctor, you're like, sheesh. But you will have awesome, you know, collegiality. And, you know, we'll be here. Really happy to support. What do you think, Matt?
So I've been at Taranaki base for 3 years now. I'm quite familiar with the process. I'm quite familiar with different SMOs and just the overall flow of Taranaki. I love it down here. I'm originally from South Auckland, so being down here, I'm far enough from home where I can get back to them if there's anything that goes on. But if they annoy me, I can just leave. So that's why I really like it here. We have a really good community within the hospital itself. It's not just doctors with doctors and physios and nurses. It's not segregated. We all chat, hang out. There's a lot of opportunities to work together outside of mahi. We've got a lot of sports groups and social clubs, which is just a nice way of going out on Friday afternoons together. The jump from being a student to a doctor is massive. It is massive. I've felt supported the entire way as I've made that jump here at Taranaki base, and that's my perspective. There is opportunities for you to approach your SMOs. A lot of them, they're easy to talk to. They're down to earth. A lot of them are from here, you know, and they're not used to being around the whole big city, don't talk to me, whatever kind of lifestyle. So they're really approachable. And if you need guidance and your registrar happens to be busy or in theatre or whatever, It's really easy. It's really easy to go to the consultants and say, "Hi, I need some help." There's been a lot of support from the RMO unit in regards to trying to get more Māori down here. I am one of 5 or 6 PGY1 Māori doctors. There's 3 above me. There is also an SMO here. I think she's a radiologist. So if you are Māori and you want to get to a part of New Zealand that you've never been to before you go home, Taranaki is a pretty good place to come. We're all down here, and essentially with culture, we all just start hanging out together. We all start supporting each other, because in a secondary level hospital, where it's not a tertiary centre, you're not another number here, you're not another RMO just passing through to get the paperwork done. We're able to support each other, and that's what I love about Taranaki. For house officer teaching, we have weekly scheduled teachings that are protected. Now, whether it's protected or not, it depends on the day. Like, come on, man. If your page is going off, you're going to have to answer it. But it should be protected. And it's a lot of what RMOs of our level are going to be experiencing. Agitated patients, pulmonary emboli, hypertension, shock, very, very scary things to start managing when you first begin. And those teaching opportunities per week give us the opportunity to learn on the job as a qualified doctor now. So, yeah, there's a lot of benefits to coming here. If you really do want to come here, I would say in your cover letter, put down what you do outside of work, because it's important. It's important that you're not just focused on a career all the time. You've got to be well-rounded if you come to Taranaki. We want to be with people who actually like working in a team. Sometimes I personally do, and so chuck it in your cover letter. If you go to the gym, if you do wakama, this is what I've done. If you like to just hang out and eat a lot of food, like chuck that in as well, because there's nice restaurants here and you can just eat a lot. Like, be approachable, be someone that who wants to engage with SMOs here, with MDT staff, with anyone, and you'll go far here.
Thank you. That's great. I'll spin the screen around a little bit. Next slide. Last year, the interns just talked about the food. That was a lot more informative. Yeah. Things with facilities. We have an RMO room, which has sleeping rooms in it. There's a librarian available Monday to Friday, and you can access the library whenever you want after hours. The cafe is, as with every employer, there's free food. I'm not sure about other hospitals, but this hospital you can get, there's no restrictions there.
Oh, mate, I eat a lot.
Yeah.
There are restrictions.
I don't know. I've been some places where they say no drinks or no, etc.
I eat a lot.
Yeah. There's on-site accommodation, which is reasonably priced, but probably not good for your mental health. So I'd look to get a place with some of your friends. That's what, 140 to 165 a week. And you guys think it's fair to say there's one long day per week, or rostered weekends, you get the RDOs off, you don't do long days.
Yeah.
Either side of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 2 sets of nights per quarter. First years don't do night shifts when on medical runs, eh? Yeah, so only do them on surgical runs. So if you do a surgical run and then you do medical, you won't do nights for 6 months. Is that right?
Yeah.
So you won't be faced with nights straight away. The other thing I should have mentioned earlier is we run a ever improving orientation program. So we do a whole week's orientation now. And it's designed based around mandatory things that we have to do, but where possible, the previous year's interns indicate what is the most valuable stuff to go in there, and we try to front load the education so you get the stuff you really need to know before you begin. And you get a day of buddying on the wards as well. And we're very aware that if you haven't been a TI or a fifth year, it is harder to get started with the computer system. So we try not to put two Otago graduates together on a weekend on their own. We try to have someone around that is used to using the system while they get up to speed. Yeah. Okay, next slide, please. Question.
So for the first question, seniors being accessible for meetings and requirements for work, they are easily approachable, and some of them will actually hunt you down, which is quite weird, to get that stuff done. Don't worry too much about achieving all the equal stuff. Like that just comes naturally as your run progresses over the 3 months. Will orientation week start on the 15th of Jan?
So we usually have an orientation week before the run starts. So they'd have a week of orientation and then the run would start the next Monday.
Yeah.
There's no Hawera placements in the first year.
No, there is a Hawera placement in PGY2. It's a new placement. For those who don't know, Hawera. What?
If you choose to do that.
If you choose.
You're not required to work in Hawera at any stage.
Yeah. In PGY2 for Taranaki, there is offered four additional runs, apart from your regular general medicine, orthopedics, general surgery, and another gen med run or whatever out of those three in PGY1. PGY2, you also get offered a senior house officer vascular role, which is semi-house officer / semi-registrar. You get obs and gynae in second year, which is the same thing as vascular. You get an ED run, which is a 6-month block, and that tees you up pretty well for surgery, if that's a career that you want to focus on. And then you get a community run, which is, I think there's 4 options now, palliative care, rural hospital, which is down in Hawera, PEDS community, and public health. Yeah, so there's a good variety. Yeah,
and that the O&G runs 6 months as well, and so is the vascular. So ED, O&G, PEDS, and vascular for PGY2 or more are 6-month runs.
Yeah, and they take on the house officer / registrar. It's like a midway role, so you're well supported for that. It's really stressful, but it's a good way to figure it out before you step up to reg, because you're going to do it anyway. So long days, Saturday, Sunday, it's dependent on what run you're in. So if you're in medicine, Saturday, Sunday, double long days. In surgery, 1 day is a long day, and then 1 day is a short day. Sounds stinky at first, but in medicine, you get 2 house officers on with you during the double long days. So you got a lot more support with your colleague. For surgery, you've only got 1 person on the long day. And that can be a bit more isolating, especially if you've got sick patients. You want to have ideas that you bounce off people. So there's pros and cons to both. Could you do one of the 6 month runs over Q4, PGY2, Q1, PGY3, or do they have the... I actually don't know that. I think that would be...
So the way we're set up is to do them in either the first half of the year or the second half. But in saying that, we take everything on a case-by-case basis, really.
Yeah. I mean, some of my colleagues have an established family or have established a family during this year or connecting into the next year. So if that's on the cards for you, I know from what they've been telling me, that the RMO unit has been really accommodating of it. Obviously, it's case by case. If you say like you just want to muck around for the first couple quarters and then do a PGY2, you'll probably get denied. That's your fault. But yeah, like it's up to you, mate. Is there a long day ridge or night ridge? Yes, there is. So there is a long day ridge medical, a long day ridge surgical. There's an ortho ridge that's on as well. So the surgical ridge doesn't necessarily cover orthopedics. So if you get called about an orthopedic problem, beeline straight to them. There's peds, senior health officer slash ridge, and O&G as well. And there's an intensivist ridge that's always present. The night ridges, they just pretty much carry over. For the ridges, it's like 24 hours call, man. It sucks, but yeah. Is it a training hospital? What are the pass rates, if so, for trainees? Ooh, mate.
That's a Jonathan question.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jonathan had to pop away to another meeting, but we can definitely pass on that question to him, and maybe we could give the answer to Beth to forward on.
Yeah, it is a training.
It is a training.
It is a training hospital.
Yeah.
Just not sure about the pass rates. Yeah.
And pass rates for what?
Yeah.
So like, is it a pass rate to pass surgical part ones? Is it applying to a program? Is it not? Yeah. There's a lot of people who come to Taranaki, spend years here ridging. It's always benefiting them. A lot of the SMOs here that are within both branches of medicine, all branches of medicine, they've been on the select committees for different specialties that you might want to apply in. So it's a good hospital to come to if you want to gun line down the career. Very good hospital. No more questions.
I would like to raise a question on behalf of applicants, just for general information. So primarily, what do you think is our employers' primary consideration when ranking applicants?
Yeah, so I think as Jonathan discussed, we do rank quite highly for people that are showing that they really do want to come to Taranaki, and that we're not just one of the many that you're applying to. We like people that have the fit for them, as Jonathan spoke about earlier, and that the work-life balance and the other things that Taranaki can offer as a region are going to suit the applicant as well. So we do rank the cover letter quite highly. Anything else, do you think?
Definitely the cover letter is important. And then if you make contact with us and come and see us, either via Zoom, or you can approach us and come and visit and have a tour of the hospital, that shows to us you're really interested in coming.
Just making that extra effort, really, I think is what we look for, and it being personable.
Okay. I'd like to ask for any of the RMOs can answer. How would you describe hospitals or employers' support when it comes to maintaining a work-life balance? Do they give any particular support program?
I think the ridges that I've had so far are really invested in getting you out the door at a reasonable hour. And they will facilitate that and take jobs off you to try and get you home. Sometimes you won't finish till 5, sometimes you won't finish till 6. Sometimes you'll finish a bit earlier and somebody will hold your pager, or your ridge will hold your pager, so you can kind of make that time back up again.
Okay.
I think it's work-life balance as a doctor. Like in my very junior experience, it's all about prep, you know. If you want to get home early, it relies on you either being efficient, which means putting out whatever bloods you need to do the night before, prepping the plans, prepping the discharges. Any time that you have 20 minutes to relax during work, that could be a discharge that you've just completely prepped, ready to go the next morning. A lot of work-life balance it's placed on, I feel like it's placed on us in order to become more effective at our job, right? We can only, the RMO unit or the hospital itself can only do so much to help you get home. And if you're slow, you're slow. That's cool. No one's going to blast you for that. But if you're slow and then always wanting to go home at 4 p.m. and you're not improving on how you get that efficiency up, ask for help, because we're all here. We've all been there. We all stay late. And like Christy said, there's ridges. The ridges here want to get you out the door, especially on Gen Med, which can be a very, very busy department. So, yeah, work-life balance, it's
kind of
multifactorial.
what you make of it, isn't it? So there's people that will want to spend a lot more time at work than they're required to, because they want to go to that surgery or they want to hang out with the reg. But you can protect your downtime as well. I've got a child, and you know, so if I don't have her, then I'm happy to stay on, and if it's a night I do have her, then I prioritise. I prioritise, and it is important to be efficient. And the first 6 months is about learning how to be efficient, really.
Yeah, and the RMOs, we absorb a lot for our colleagues, and you will absorb a lot for your colleagues.
Pay it forward.
It's reciprocal. Yeah. Just because you can go home maybe 3 o'clock, 3:30 to get to whatever you need, and you can pass your pager over to your colleague to answer any queries for your patients. Don't keep doing that just so you can get home early, because if you come to a small hospital and do that, you're going to get burnt, mate. Like, we will remember. So play it both ways. Be real careful about your work-life balance, because if it's just about your work-life balance, it's not going to be there very soon.
I see a question there. How easy is it to get leave approved? I think we're working on the leave situation a little bit. I think the PGY 2s of next year, our crew, will take less leave in the first quarter so that you guys have a chance to have some leave. And again, it's kind of like the paying it forward thing. Try not to take big chunks of leave, because it means that your colleagues won't get any. So it's a bit of a juggling act with leave.
You can apply for leave before you come. So if you get a placement here, you can send the RMO coordinators requests for leave. But I'd agree with you guys in saying that just be mindful of other people. If you put in, 6 weeks of leave and big chunks, and that's what you're going to take for the year, and that all gets approved in the first few weeks of you being here, then that, doesn't leave a lot for others. So if we have a full roster, which hopefully in the first quarter of the year we will, then leave obviously is easier to approve leave. The RMO unit, the girls working, they don't decline leave lightly here. We don't like to do it, but we have to do it, and we do prioritise the important things, the weddings and the sisters' babies and the things like that, and the overseas trips that have been planned to see family that you haven't seen for a long time. So we do take it on a case-by-case basis as well, but we definitely don't decline leave easily or mindlessly.
What about Otago graduates then? Are they able to, say, email you so that they have access to pre-planned leave, same as with Auckland?
Yeah, definitely. So as soon as you get an offer letter for here, you accept your position here, then we would collate all of the leave that comes in. So if you email us the dates that you're wanting, and we'll collate that, and it will be just put on a spreadsheet as when it comes in, and we would look at it like that way, because obviously you can't put it through our system until your first day of work. So yeah, you're more than welcome to reach out to the RMO coordinators via their email for any leave requests prior to starting. Yeah, for anyone.
And has it been stressed about emailing the RMO coordinator so that it's not an individual, because there's several RMO coordinators?
Yeah, so our unit's changed a little bit over the last few months. We have 3 coordinators, and they all have their own emails and their own phones and their own extensions. So we really stress to everybody, please email the generic rmo.coordinator@tdhb.org.nz inbox, and then someone will always be able to reply to you. So if you email them or phone them individually, then that person may not be working for the rest of the week, and so you won't get an answer until they're back at work. So the best way to contact them is through that email. And then anything, if you don't get an answer from them or you need any other questions, then you're welcome to email or phone me directly. And anything education-wise, you're welcome to email Taryn. Lots of options.
Okay, I think we still have another question here. Can you go into a bit more depth about what you like most? What is good about MDT in Taranaki?
It's largely just personalities and the banter. Some of like the physios have been here for quite a while, and they don't just stick to their physio role. They'll change menus on the board, and they'll help you out or remind you about something. It's not like you refer to OT and never actually have a conversation with them. It's just friendly. You have some kind of board meeting every day. Doesn't matter if you're in surgical or in medical, and that so people like a complex discharge coordinator will come to that. Senior nursing staff, maybe the nurse manager, dietitian, social worker, OT, PT, and that offloads a lot of your workload. Actually, you just go there and you spend 5 or 10 minutes updating MDT about your patients, and then it's a verbal thing that's done, and you see who you're referring to. So next time you bump into them, you close that loop and find out what's happened with that patient. It's personality, really, and people being quite casual and friendly.
I agree. MDT, I previously went to MDTs at Middlemore Hospital, and being such a big tertiary centre, it was more senior doctor tells junior doctor what to do, junior doctor tells everyone else what to do, kind of vibes. Here, it's not really like that. We rely a lot on our physiotherapists, our social workers, our occupational therapists to make sure they keep us in check, to be honest, to keep us in check. As doctors, a lot of our workload is front-loaded, meaning that we have jobs to do after the ward round in the morning, get those jobs done, you're good, sweet, go home. The problem is that if there's discharges coming up and your team is pushing for a patient to get discharged and it's not safe for it to happen, it's your name that's on the discharge summary, yeah? So you've got to be real careful, because our physios and our MDT will save our patients, and in doing so also save us. And having that safety net in an environment where you can talk, relax, laugh about what happened on the weekend, or just eat a lot of cake because we have patients always bringing that in, it really changes the dynamics of what it means to be working with allied health professionals. So yeah, MDT, man, it's really cool.
Another question came in. Do PGY1s in surgical team get any time in theatre?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Lots.
That was us. So if you're keen, you can make that happen. On the surgical teams, you have a buddy. So there's 2 house officers to your team and 2 registrars and 2 bosses. It's probably likely that there's somebody out, that your offsider isn't as interested in surgery. I got opportunities to go to theatre because my offsider wasn't interested in surgery, and it was great. So yeah, I guess find out who is interested in it, and the registrars will really foster you getting in there, and they don't presume that you have any knowledge. I don't think there's any horrible scrub nurses that yell at you or anything like that. There's one.
Oh,
We're allowed one. We're allowed one. Yeah. Like everybody's really welcoming. People aren't sharp. They'll, my registrar took me in and just sort of presumed I'd never sutured, just so you don't feel dumb, because it might have been months since you've done that. Great registrars. Yes, you can get time in theatre if that's what you want.
There's a big push for the general surgery department here, where during the start of your run, the vascular surgeon will sit down with you. They make it a point that every week, at least half a day, you would take your offsider's pager and answer any queries, and then you would pass it on and pass your pager to them. And they use that half day. Do whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
If you want to go to ortho and you see your general surgeon, you make contact with them in theatre and say goodbye and keep going to ortho, go for it. If you want to go ENT, hang out with Nick Stevenson and watch ENT stuff, go for it. If you want to do anesthetics, the anaesthetists, they're really approachable. Radiology. A lot of us haven't seen what are those procedures called? Procedural radiology, interventional radiology. See, I don't even know the name because I've never seen stuff before. I just booked the scans. But if you're interested in that, you can go do it. There's opportunity down here that if you want to explore branches of medicine that are non-surgical or are completely surgical, you can do it.
So I think that's a massive benefit, actually. We didn't all use that opportunity. Certainly we didn't use it every single week for half a day, because we're just starting out and you want to get your feet under the table and start to feel comfortable with what you're doing. You don't want to let your offsider down if you're busy.
Yeah.
But it's nice that that's available should your workload allow. And certainly when you come back around to surgery in the second half of the year, that'll be something that we'll definitely take more advantage of.
Okay, another question. Do medical teams have 2 times house officers too?
No. So that's I won't say anything.
The answer is no.
But that's not like a RMO unit thing. That's way up the chain ladder problem. That's been raised, I think, multiple times by multiple years of house officers. You don't, and you can feel it. Gen Med, you're busy here. You're real busy, but you're busy everywhere. But Gen Med.
The community that the DHB looks after is over 100,000 people, and the whole purpose of the DHB is to improve the health of that community. The 3 roles of the DHB would be 1, the PHO services, your GP, 2, your community services, where people come into your home. It might be home help, home care, district nursing. And the 3rd thing, of course, is the hospital, where you've got your emergency department, your acute care and your elective services, where we might plan an operation for you and you'll receive that. Our province has got 1 major city, which is buzzing, modern, and then we've got a rural area, quite a large rural mass. So we've got a base hospital, we've also got a rural hospital and 4 health centres, which accommodates the whole population. We've got 1,700 staff working here at the DHB. We're extremely welcoming, we've got a multicultural staff and we're reported to be very supportive.
The working environment and the culture here at the emergency department in Taranaki is one of great cooperation. Everybody works extremely hard.
The culture here is probably one of the best things about working at Taranaki DHB. Everyone knows each other's names. We all hang out socially as well with the other multidisciplinary team members like the physiotherapists and occupational therapists. Everyone knows everyone.
I chose to come back to Taranaki for a number of different reasons. Because I had worked here as a registrar and as a house surgeon, and I knew the environment in the region, and I fell in love with the place and with the area around the hospital. To be quite honest, work is work, you can do it anywhere. The region is what drew me back.
It's just a beautiful place. I may be biased, but I just love Taranaki. It's got everything. It meets a whole lot of different people's needs and hobbies.
Taranaki is a very special place for me. I was brought up in Taranaki. I'm local. Working for the hospital here is great because I'm challenged professionally, and when I leave work I can go and look at the mountain, I can go climb the mountain, I can go surfing, I can go swimming. Good cafe scene, lots of good restaurants. It's just an exciting place to be.
You know, as a family, when we were sort of decided to take a leap and go work overseas and give the family an opportunity to go live in another country. We'd never been to New Zealand, none of us had been to New Zealand, but we heard quite good things and it looked like there was job opportunities at that time, so it looked like a perfect match for us.
We like to make sure that people in our community get the highest level of service. That would be state-of-the-art machinery, that would be good staff, that would be working really hard to ensure that your healthcare needs are met.
We've got some quite modern equipment. We have a PAC system. We have digital theatre built in that is routinely available for my use. We have very good laparoscopic equipment, which is mainly my field, laparoscopic bowel surgery. The staff around me are very good.
The quality of the facilities are great now that we've got the new wards and the new hospital. It's just a nice environment to work in, and I think the patients and the visitors really enjoy coming here and seeing what we've got on offer.
I think that for people coming to work in the DHB, we have got such a pride in Taranaki and in our DHB. We're a friendly, welcoming culture that wants people to come and work with us, and we want to show our whole province and our health system off. So I think really it's a lovely place to work.
There's one more question saying which runs do PGY1s do, and is it paper notes or electronic? So we require our PGY1s to do 2 medical and 2 surgical runs, and you just get allocated fairly randomly into the medical or surgical teams. And notes, Nick, you can probably answer that.
No, we don't have electronic notes. To my understanding, only North Shore has that, which is quite a luxury. But doesn't really matter, because whether you go electronic or handwritten notes, you're going to be writing things throughout the rest of your life anyway, so you might as well start working your hand now.
Since we're done with the question and answer, we would like to, before closing, we would just like to reiterate some of the key dates regarding the ACE RMO application. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So just remember that registration for the ACE intake closes on Friday, 23rd of June. What we mean by closes on Friday on 23rd of June, meaning it is a cutoff where all applicants should have been able to create and registered as an applicant, and they should have been able to send reference requests before the registration cutoff. And all applications must be completed by 12 noon New Zealand time on July 7, and that is on a Friday. That's when the intake closes. Employers will assess applications between July 18 to August 12. Match results will be emailed to all applicants on the 28th of August, Monday at 9 a.m. Then finally, all successful match applicant is set to start on January 15, 2024. So for those who are still interested to join any of our webinar series from our different employers, you can just go to the ACE RMO website and register from there to whatever employers they are keen to attend to. For now, that's all, and I wish everyone a good luck in their application for this year. I want to thank our panelists for taking time to be part of this webinar. For all the audiences who attended this webinar, and I hope you did enjoy our webinar for today. So, do we close?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and see you again.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.